the commercialization of media, including now social media, which is highly commercially driven, has led to things that don't work very well, and yet in that's now in the social media setting directly driven by algorithms. Algorithms decide how your newsfeed gets presented, and they're making simplifying assumptions about who you are, and unfortunately there's a feedback loop, and it drives you more into being who they think you are because you're only seeing news that basically services who they think you are.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, these are the kind of things I'm trying to get at, to get people to kind of think about and then reshape the way things are done.
Yeah. Yeah, the social media one, that's the big one that I think most people are becoming aware of, that one where you're not seeing everything, you're just being fed what they think you want.
Yeah, and it's worse. And the thing is, it's worse than that. It's what what the algorithms think you want, and then because of the nature of social media, and this is something I've worked on with some students, is the very nature of social media is that it tends to lock into bubble chambers by itself, into echo chambers by itself, filter bubbles by itself. I mean, it just kind of tends to do that, and it's not hard to see this if you think about the way you get news on social media is like there's a bunch of tubes connecting you to other people who are your friends, and you only get things through those tubes. And then what happens is the algorithm's saying, okay, this thing came down this tube for his friend, and he's never looking at that. He's never looking at that tube. So that tube gets shut off. And it's
Mm.
this other friend that you look at all the time, that tube gets promoted. And what happens across the entire network is there are tubes behind tubes behind tubes behind tubes, and shutting off a friend 2 degrees separated from you from some other friend is actually limiting what gets to you. So
Right.
it all eventually just kind of goes whoosh, and you get these bubbles. So it's the algorithms acting, simplifying you. Plus, it's the very dynamics of the media itself. It's the way social media dynamics work. Now, the nice thing about that, I suppose, the positive message is, I think it can be changed. I think it can be changed, and I think it's great that you say people are aware of it now. I think people really are. I think the social media companies are aware of it, and I think some of them are beginning to think, how can I have a business model that works for me as a social media company, but also does something that won't make me a villain, that won't make me the greatest villain of all society, which I think there's one particular social media company who kind of brand with great villainy right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there are people at all of them who are thinking, how can we make this work? And I believe there are ways to make it work. There are ways to use algorithms themselves to better social effect. But first we got to realize why there are negative social effects, and that's why I wrote the book.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we don't have to eliminate algorithms because I remember back, Instagram, they didn't even have an algorithm, it seemed like, because you just got everything based on when it was posted by the people you follow still, I guess.
Sure.
But you're saying there is a way for them to use
Yeah,
algorithms
I think
appropriately.
so. But a lot of it, yes, I think that algorithms can help, but they have to focus on to do so. I think they have to focus on socially responsible values. I mean, one of the things about Facebook, Twitter, Google, etc., is in many ways they're media companies. I mean, I'd say that Twitter and Facebook are definitely media companies. Google, a lot of Google's functions are that of a media company. They're providers of information,
Mm-hmm.
and social responsibility for media companies is something that we used to emphasize legally in this country, in the U.S. Um, through the fairness doctrine, et cetera. And that dissolved in the 1980s, actually. And I think we need to have a return to that, the idea that media companies have a social responsibility that they have to fulfill by public mandate. I think some of them are moving towards trying to fulfill it through their own corporate action. It's difficult for them because they have to answer to shareholders.
Yeah.
But I think they should also have to answer to society. And ultimately, that means governmental action, which is a ways off now. It's going to take a long time for that to happen. There's a lot of people who don't want it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you so where I'm starting is this: if you have a mandate of social responsibility, then you can start looking at your algorithms and saying, well, how can the algorithms help that social responsibility? Right
Hmm.
now, the only mandate is corporate responsibility, which is ultimately value to shareholders. And with that mandate, you've got to make your algorithm service that.
Right.
So it's that shift of thinking to saying there's a social responsibility and algorithms have to be a part of fulfilling that. Now, will they be great at it? They'll be as good at it as they can be, being the simplifying, quantifying entities that they are. Will you need human beings to watch out for dumb problems they create and polarizations that they create in ways we haven't foreseen? Absolutely. You'll absolutely have to have humans looking at it probably with very new tools, very new scientific tools to look at information propagation and say, hey, is this healthy? Is the way we're
Yeah.
seeing information moving around there, is that healthy, or is something bad happening? And we'll need people and tools working together to make that happen.
Yeah, because that's what I'm curious about is because, they're driven right now to increase profit, which seems pretty straightforward. But what would be some of the, I guess, goals of an AI if it was, government regulated and to, be
Um,
socially beneficial?
well, I mean, if there are probably lots of new things, but old things like the fairness doctrine really had a mandate to basically say people should always be able, not be made to, but be able to see both sides of an issue, right?
Mm,
As a matter of course,
sure.
equal time for different points of view, and people can always shut it off. People can always not look at it, right? But what's going on now is that it never even gets to them, right? If in the social media system, different opinions will not come to you because the pipes are shut down, right? Then they won't get to you. So you don't even have the opportunity to see the other point of view. And I do believe in human institutions, and I believe in the idea of journalistic values. And I believe that we can do some of that too. We can say, look, are there people who have verified and ratified that something is fairly presented? And can we badge things to say, look, this has a badge of journalistic excellence? Um, and can we serve people that and say, look, this is something that, you know, people you should trust say is trustworthy. And,
Hmm.
there's been a breakdown of trust in human institutions in general that's a part of this whole phenomena. But if we're going to say that algorithms have limitations, then what else but human institutions are going to be the things that come in and say, we've got to, endorse or certify or ratify that there's good in the world. And I know
Hmm.
there's a lot of people out there who believe, the media is corrupt, and sure, is there corrupt media? Absolutely. Is media full of opinions? Absolutely. Is the Pulitzer Prize a real thing? Yeah. Pulitzer Prize, people who wrote Pulitzer Prize winning piece of work are good journalists.
Hmm.
Nobel Prize winners are people who can really write. Uh, you know, um, various awards of excellence in journalism are real, and places that have no reputation like that, and places that do have reputation like that established over many years, are different. They're not the same. And having the endorsement of the CDC for a fact is a real thing. And if we all degrade to the point of a conspiracy theory where we basically think nothing can be trusted, then the world's in a real big problem. Because let me tell you, I don't understand everything about vaccines.
Hmm.
I want people who understand everything about vaccines working and telling me what I should know about them. Right? I mean, if I don't have trust in institutions, man, am I in a world hurt? And so are all of us, really.
Hey, thanks for watching this video. This is my dog, Murphy, and these are dog treats. Now I'll give Murphy one of these dog treats, and all you have to do is press the like button. Just press that little like button right down there at the bottom of this video, and this sweet, adorable, cute little puppy gets a treat. All thanks to you. Alright, you did it? Okay, I believe you if you said you did it. There you go, Murph. She got that treat because of you. Now, I'll eat one of these treats. And all you have to do is click that subscribe button right there, pointing to it. Just click that subscribe button, subscribe to Curiosityness with me, Travis DeRose. Get lots of good video, and I'll eat this treat. All right, you did that too? That's not very good. Bro, not very good.